If you've ever sat down to write a YouTube video and had no idea where to start, the idea, the title, how to end the video, this one's for you. I'm going to walk you through the exact 10-step process I use to write scripts that have generated hundreds of thousands of dollars for my clients, so you don't have to rely solely on ChatGPT to write your scripts for you. Quick note though, these steps are optimized for business channels, meaning you have something to sell like info or you have some kind of high ticket service. So if you make entertainment style videos, this one may not be for you, but you might still learn something if you stick around. So step number one is to find a validated idea. And I say validated because most people come up with great ideas in their head, but they're not so great when they actually go and post the video. Your friends, your own instincts, your colleagues, they're not good validators. The right way is not to just come up with ideas, but is to use data tools like vidIQ or TubeBuddy to show you low supply but high demand topics. That means you want to find ideas with lots of search volume, but not a lot of supply of those specific videos people search for. Now, step number two is understanding your audience before you do any writing at all. And this might be the most important step in the entire video. You need to understand that there are different levels of awareness. And the two we want to focus on for YouTube are problem aware and solution aware. Most people, like especially business channels, they make videos for people who are unaware, these unaware audiences who don't know that they have a problem yet. So you want to aim for the two, right? Problem aware audiences, they know something is wrong, they just don't know what the solution is yet. Or solution aware audiences, they know a solution exists and they're just comparing options at this point. So for B2B offers specifically, if you're going to go after solution aware people, don't oversell it. The viewers are going to be evaluating you. You need to convince them that your offer, your solution is going to be the answer to their fears and their hopes and their aspirations. But most videos should actually be for problem-aware audiences. You want to make videos about the pain, not specifically the product or your service. So if you run an ads agency, specifically for Facebook ads, you want to go after business owners who are going purely after, say, referrals or leads from their content. And you want to come in and say, hey, I know what your problem is. You are running out of your pool of referral candidates. So now you need another way to get your leads. You want to start running Facebook ads. And here's how you're going to do it. That's the kind of thing you'd be doing. So why does this change everything? Because the more specific you get, the higher likelihood that the right person is going to see your content. And when you get this wrong, that means you are going to attract the wrong person. So you want to really make sure that not just the idea is correct, but you've validated and you've really thought about the level of awareness that you're capturing. In step three, you then want to nail the title. Again, before you write anything, you want to nail that title first. And the secret that most people won't tell you is that the title is actually your first hook. They need to decide whether or not to click on yours and watch a single second of your video. And a weak title is going to kill a great one before it even starts. So how do we write good titles? The first thing you can do is borrow from adjacent niches. So if you run a Facebook agency, look at what biz ops channels are doing. Look at what business building channels or personal finance channels are doing. And you can take their titles and then piece in things that are more relevant to your actual industry. The key thing here is the structure. The structure is your asset, not necessarily the words that you're using. So what makes a title work? If you're in B2C, make your titles curiosity driven. Give them a piece or hint of what they're going to learn and then make them want to click because now they're wondering what's next. What am I going to learn if I watch this video? If you're running a B2B channel, tell them exactly what they're going to learn. No curiosity whatsoever. That way they have a clear idea that they're going to get in that video, get the information they need, and then get out. Like you're talking to business owners at this point, you really want to make sure that you're not wasting their time. Step number four is to build a simple outline for your script. Why do you need an outline before anything else? The outline is the skeleton. Everything else hangs off of it. So skipping that leads to rambling, lost viewers, and wasted filming time. You want three main points, and that's the sweet spot. That's enough depth, but tight enough to retain attention on the video. Now, like this one, for example, is 10 steps, but you can stick to those three main points there. So how do we structure those three main points? Well, I did make a video about this in the corner of the screen, wherever it's going to be, about my 3-point script structure. You can click on that or you can keep watching this video. You want to lead with your second best point in the video like I did in this one because it gets the viewers hooked without peaking. Then you want to make sure to have a strong actionable close for point 3. And the outline also shapes how your hook is going to work. For example, you can't write a real hook until you know what you're promising in the video. And the outline is going to tell you what the video delivers and the hook is going to sell that delivery. So write the outline first, hook second, always. Step number 5 is to write a hook using the Hormozy framework. So I've talked about the pain-proof promise framework, but I just learned a couple new things from Hormozy actually, and 2 things really stood out to me. No matter what, every single hook for YouTube needs a call out which grabs attention and identifies who this video is even for in the first place. and an implication of the value that they're going to get if they watch the videos. That's just a reason to keep them watching. When both are present, basically the video is not going to feel like clickbait and they're going to want to keep watching it. Then you can layer in a proof, promise, and plan framework, meaning the proof is one specific result that shows you've solved this exact problem, and the promise is what they're going to walk away with, which is specific. And then a plan, which is a roadmap so they know where you're taking them through. So again, if you run a Facebook ads agency, a proof point could be, hey, I have spent $1 million ad spend over the last 30 days, and here are the results. And I promise you, if you watch this video, you can get similar results as well if we follow this specific 3-step plan. Now, a hook for YouTube isn't going to be just like one sentence. Can be 2 sentences, 3, 4 sentences. So you have some time and room to work with to get all of these things in it. But always the shorter the hook, the better it'll be. So let's talk about a bad hook versus a good hook. A bad hook might have been, hey guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about YouTube script writing. A better hook would be this. I've written 300 scripts that generated $300,000. Here's the exact template. So I have proof. I said I've written 300 scripts and also generated a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars with it. Then what's the implication? If you watch this video, you're going to get this exact template that helped me do. So the difference here is specificity and a clear reason for the viewer to stay. Now, honestly, if you just take those first 5 steps, you've got 80% of the equation down. Like if you're already making $25K per month or more and you want these scripts written for you, just click the link in the description down below. We can hop on a quick call and I'll explain how we can take all of this off your plate. The editing, the scripting, coming up with the ideas, even the posting, everything. So again, click the description in the link below and we can book a call together. All right, end of commercial. Step number 6 is write the body with the speaker in mind. Most people think you need to write your scripts word for word, but I've found that writing them in a bullet point format tends to work much better because most business owners who hop on a YouTube video, they're not trained actors. And when they read, they sound robotic. And this defeats the whole point of making YouTube videos because YouTube can be one of the most efficient content systems that you can possibly have. Sophisticated audience can also tell when you're just like performing versus actually teaching people. So a better approach is to use guided bullet points inside of your scripts, meaning you write bullet points that prompt you, not replace the actual speaker and the mindset that you actually have on camera. You want to trust that you as an expert can expand on a one-liner with your own words. And also this works really great for like screen sharing frameworks too. Step number 7 is to inject stories into your script. Here's why stories do what facts cannot, right? Facts tell people what to think and stories make them feel it because emotion is what moves someone from, wow, that's an interesting video to, oh shit, I need to book a call with this person. They made me feel something. But the whole goal here is to make yourself present as a real person. Anyone can use AI now to write scripts or write their LinkedIn posts, but if you're showing up as a real human on camera, you're gonna win. You have a much higher chance because people are gonna trust you that much more. So where do you even place stories in the first place? You wanna place them right after you introduce a problem because a story makes the pain real. Or you do it before a CTA, right? Like you have a client win here or there, and that'll do the selling for you. Or you can place them wherever you need to re-engage a viewer who might be drifting. You might be wondering like, Ryan, what kind of stories do I even tell? What I like to do is on my phone, I have a notes app that I keep all of my mini stories in. Whenever I'm stuck and I want to tell a quick story and relate it to some grander concept that I'm talking about, I just go through it on my notes and just pick out one of the stories and then I can talk about them inside of a video. Step number 8 is the DIY versus the DWY outro. I call this the 2-option close. So option number 1 is DIY. You can encourage people to go and try and do the thing you explained in your video for themselves. And then you mention option 2, which is the DWY, do it with you. Explain why working with you makes more sense for most people, meaning I can help you save time. I can help you save money. I can help you save that headache of you trying to figure all this shit out on your own. Now, then you want to handle the obvious objections head on. Okay, so can someone really write in my voice, for example? And you just want to answer that directly with a case study. And then you want to weave your offer naturally into the content, right? Don't let it feel like an ad per se, but you just weave it in. And by weaving it in, you can tell a story, which, naturally leads to a client testimonial, for example. And the best calls to action, they have a logical conclusion that's not necessarily a sales pitch. I'll show you exactly what I do and how I do it. Step number 9 is to script your visuals and leave editor notes. I've worked with dozens of editors. I used to send them the footage and be like, cool, do your thing and just give it back to me. The issue with this is they're never going to know exactly like what you want unless you really spend the time to tell them what it is, like the fonts, the colors, editing style. There are so many things that can go wrong in the edit. And then when you have 3, 4, 5, 6 different rounds of revisions, it can take hours of time every single day. And you could actually save a lot of that by annotating directly into your script. What I mean by that is anytime you have a new topic, you want to flag title sequences, for example. So let's say you come up with a script that has 3 main ideas inside of body. For each one, you might want to say, oh, hey, I want like a full background title sequence for each of these things. Highlight that in your script and mention that, and then send them the script, because that's going to help them know what you want and save you time on the back end where you don't have to do as many revisions. You can also call out B-roll moments, like when you want to hop off screen and go to B-roll that you already filmed, or go to any stock footage. You can add in proof screenshots, tell them what kind of graphics you want, show them like lower thirds. There are so many things that you can say to your editor that's going to save time up front. Hormozy does this as well. He puts 80% of his time into pre-production instead of post-production. Now he only works 20% of the time on the actual editing. And then step number 10 is you want to go through a final script review checklist. So audit your hook. Does it call out the right person in the first 5 seconds? Is there a specific proof point and a clear promise? Does it give a roadmap? Then do a body audit. Is the body of the script going to help you expand on points and actually use your brain and use your experience to really nourish and teach the people who are watching the video? Is your best point landing in the second main point? Is there at least one story that makes the viewer feel something? And then you want to do an outro audit. Are you presenting 2 honest options, not just pitching people? Have you addressed the obvious objection head on? And is the CTA specific enough that they know exactly what to do next? So again, that's the full 10-step system from finding a validated idea all the way to the script your editor can actually work with. Now, you can take everything in this video and start building your own process from scratch. And if you have the time to test, iterate, and figure out what works for your specific audience, you absolutely can. But if you're already running a business at $25,000 per month and your time is better spent on clients than becoming some kind of YouTube expert, that's exactly like what I can do for you. I can do the scripts, we can do the production, funnel optimization, all of it. Click the first link in the description below to book a free discovery call with me. And yeah, it's free, even though a lot of agencies are starting to charge for discovery calls. And I'll even show you how you can turn your YouTube channel into a system that books 10 plus qualified calls every single month so you can focus on what you do best for your business.